and welcome to yet another video, and today we are looking at a very interesting subject as far as acing interviews are concerned, and we are diving deeper into behavioral interview questions. As a candidate, how can you use behavioral interview questions to your advantage? Because as I keep saying, during the interview, the interviewers are not only keen on your technical expertise, basically your knowledge of the role, but also your track record of success matters when it comes to setting you apart from any other candidate. And that is why it is important for you to know how can you take advantage of behavioral interview questions to make yourself stand out as a candidate even when you're responding to interview questions. Did you know that your past behavior is a strong indicator of how you are most likely to perform in the future? Welcome to this video, and we will be diving deeper when it comes to how to ace your interviews with a more focus on how to take advantage of behavioral interview questions to stand out from the so many other candidates that are equally being interviewed for the same position. Now, as I keep saying, the interviewer is always keen on two things during an interview. They are keen on the knowledge of the role from the candidate as well as their track record of success. Now, how do they assess the track record of success? It's purely by asking you behavioral questions, and that is what we will be addressing in this video, because you realize that behavioral interview questions are basically designed to assess how you as a candidate you have handled various situations in the past and how that experience has prepared you for the next big assignment or makes you a better fit for the position that you are being interviewed for. In case you are watching this video and you are wondering, what do we mean by behavioral interview questions? Now, these are just questions that focus more on your real life examples. They focus more on your professional experience. And basically, these questions, when they are asked, the interviewer expects you to draw more from your history, especially when it comes to demonstrating your skills, demonstrating your problem-solving abilities, as well as sometimes even your interpersonal dynamics. Whenever you hear questions like, tell me about a time when you faced a challenge at work, or another question would be, give an example of how you have handled a conflict, or sometimes the questions can be packaged like, describe a situation where you really had to work as part of a team. Definitely these are behavioral questions, and these questions requires you to put yourself into action. Actually, that is the right word, putting yourself into action. Being able to share how your past experiences, the situations that you have encountered in your past experiences, and how those situations, you being able to handle them, has prepared you for the next big assignment. Now, understanding how to approach behavioral interview questions is very key for you as a candidate when it comes to you being able to showcase your qualifications effectively during an interview. Remember, the goal is for you to package yourself as a solution to the potential employer and to stand out from the so many other candidates that are being interviewed. One of the frameworks or methods or strategies, let me put it that way, that works when it comes to using behavioral questions to your own advantage as a candidate during the interview is the STAR method, or sometimes we call it the STAR framework. This method is everything because it helps you to be very brief, it helps you to be concise and to the point by addressing exactly what the interviewer wants to hear. Because sometimes, because of your personality, you may find yourself speaking and speaking and speaking, but you're not really addressing what the interviewer wants to hear. Or on the flip side, you start speaking, then self-doubt checks in, you put a full stop very fast, and this leaves the interviewer wanting to hear more when you are already done. So how do you go about addressing the STAR method? This framework will help you to structure your responses or even your thought process in a more organized manner. It helps you to be very clear and concise, as I have already said. It helps you to be able to answer or even highlight your experiences more effectively. Now, in the STAR framework or the STAR method, S basically stands for the situation, and then we have T, which stands for the task, then we have A, which stands for the actions, and then finally the results. Now, during an interview, when a question has been asked, for example, describe a a situation where you really had to work as part of a team. Remember, the interviewer was not there with you when you faced a similar situation where you were to... Remember, the interviewer was not with you at that particular moment when you were tasked with working together as a team. So you have to paint the situation. You have to paint the picture in the mind of the interviewer. So situation in the STAR method is all about you setting the context of your story. Describe a situation that you were in, and in that situation, ensure that you provide enough detail to picture you in the context. And then the task, which is all about your responsibility or your assignment. So what was expected of you in that situation? And then the action addresses what did you do? And definitely our actions will always result into an outcome or a result. So what was the outcome of your actions, which can either be positive or negative? Let me give you an example. Assume you are interviewing for a project manager position, and the question that has been asked, a behavioral question that has been asked, is describe a situation where you had to work as part of a team. How can you use this behavioral question to your advantage? Maybe in your current position with your current employer, or your previous position with your previous employer, you are holding the position of a project coordinator. So where do you begin? You'd be like, in my previous role as a project coordinator, our team was faced with tight deadlines for a very big client or a major client project, for example. That was the situation. And what was your task as the project coordinator in that situation? As the project coordinator, part of your responsibility, of course, is to ensure that all the team members stay on track and that all of you together are able to meet your deliverables. That is your task. But then again, there is a situation where you are faced with tight deadlines for a major client project. Now, what actions did you take as the project coordinator? What did you do to address the situation? What did you do to try and solve the problem at hand? What did you do to ensure that the project was successfully implemented? As the project coordinator, I was able to organize daily check-in meetings, for example, to monitor the progress of the project. Maybe you are even able to relocate resources where needed, and you also ensured that you communicated regularly with the client to try and manage their expectations. Now, at this point, the interviewer is keen on the result, the outcome of your actions. And as I've already said, the result can either be positive or negative. So in a situation where the result or the outcome of your actions were positive, build more on the notable career achievements that came with the actions that you took to solve the situation at hand. But in a situation where the outcome was negative, build or focus more on the lessons that you learned. This is very important for all professionals interviewing for competency-based interview questions. For example, in this context, I would say, as a result, we completed the project within 2 days or even 2 days earlier, and this definitely impressed the client, and it even led to an additional work or an additional project from the client. Along the way, as a project coordinator, I learned the importance of being proactive or proactively communicating, and I equally learned the importance of team collaboration. So in a nutshell, the interviewer or the potential employer is able to see or to predict your future performance just in case you encounter a similar task or a similar situation. So using the STAR method will definitely allow you to be able to tell a compelling story, to your own advantage as a candidate during the interview. And the tips for you to be able to answer these behavioral questions effectively, number one, is to be specific and be very honest. You can never lie about an experience that you've had. At the same time, focus more on the positive outcomes, and in case your actions did not result into a positive outcome, share more the lessons that you learned, because sometimes it is as a result of the lessons that we learn that equally prepares us for the next big assignment. So in a nutshell, for purposes of learning in this video, remember to always practice and prepare ahead of the interview. And one of the best ways to even practice to ensure that you are on track is to seek for interview coaching services. Get the help of a coach to help you identify your areas of strength when it comes to handling behavioral interview questions, and the areas that perhaps you could be struggling with, and how best you can be able to capture the mind of the interviewer, even with sharing your track record of success. We encourage you to reach out to us from the link provided below. Share with us even in the comment section how your experience has been with behavioral interview questions and areas that you'd want us to tackle in our upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.